Confucianism and the Legacy He's Left. Ashland Merlowski, Junior Division Documentary category. Most Chinese recognize Confucius as the greatest thinker and educator in Chinese history. The most important reason he is famous is that Confucius was the conscious inheritor of the culture of the Xia and Zhou dynasties. Confucius laid down a pattern of thinking followed by more patterns for more generations than anyone. Confucianism is not a religion in the Judeo, Christian, Islamic, or Hindu-Buddhist way, but is a religion pure and simple. It's an ethical code directed to correct living. Confucius believed he was witnessing the collapse of China's ancient civilization, so he started searching for ways to stop the anarchy and decline he saw all around him. During this time, the Zhou kingdom weakened and violence became common. Rulers sent armies to destroy enemy states, and whole villages of men, women, and children were beheaded. That's why Confucius started this major theory about how to create a peaceful society. Confucius was ancient China's first great thinker and teacher. He believed that people must put the needs of family and community before his or her own needs. Then, if each person did their own duty, society as a whole would do well. Confucius created a philosophy based on virtue. He believed that honesty, respect, sincerity, and common sense could not only bring a family together, but could also bring together the Chinese Empire. This is how Confucius's journey through China began. In his journey, several disciples wandered throughout the states of Wei, Sung, Che, and Cheyenne, teaching with Confucius and accompanying him. Although the rulers of the states he visited respected him, his life was threatened at various times and he was almost assassinated and sung. Most of Confucius's time was spent developing ideas on the arts of government, as well as teaching. Over time, there were 72 disciples that were greatly favored by Confucius, and as many as 3,000 regular followers. The 3,000 disciples all became elites in all areas of life. These were the people who gave us the idea that the world would eventually return to a state of Ren. Confucius's social philosophy largely revolves around the concept of Ren, which is compassion or loving others. Confucius represented his lessons as teachings and said that he was not the maker, but that he was the transmitter. He said that all he did was reflect his reliance and love towards the ancients. Confucius's political philosophy is also rooted in his belief that a ruler should learn self-discipline, should govern his subjects by his own example, and should treat them with love and concern. Aspects of this ideology can even be found in our Constitution, with a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. His golden rule is very similar to the golden rule we know today. His states, "What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others. Since you yourself desire standing, then help others to achieve it. Since you yourself desire success, then help others to obtain it." Another one of his famous sayings is that the wise find pleasure in the water, the virtuous find pleasure in the hills. This means that the wise should be as clever and intelligent as the water, conforming to situations, while the virtuous should be as solemn and lofty as the mountains, immovable with conviction. Confucianism, in its broad sense, embraces not only the immediate teaching of Confucius, but also the traditional records, customs, and rites, which he gave the sanction of his approval, and which today rests on his authority. Confucius did not write down any of his ideas, but his followers put together a book of sayings called the Lun Yu Analects. One of these sayings claimed that he who governs by means of his virtue is, to use an analogy, like the pole star. It remains in its place while all the lesser stars do homage to it. Lun Yu 2.1. Confucius was generally called master or becoming sage, although he wanted to be referred to as superior man or Chun Zi. After his death in 479 BC, his home was turned into a temple by Duke Ai. In 194 BC, Emperor Cao Tzu started the custom of state offerings and royal visits from new emperors to Confucius at the temple in Chufu. This custom was continued until 1911 AD. Today there are many temples that were built to honor Confucius. The temples built to Confucius are not places where organized groups gather to worship, but a public edifice designed for annual ceremonies. Today, on September 28th every year, people gather at temples to honor Confucius. This video is of a ceremonial dance being performed for Confucius. The ceremonial rituals survived for thousands of years in China. Led by the emperor on his knees, they symbolize the respect held for Confucianism. In the beginning, rituals were offered to Confucius and secondary rituals to his disciples. After the Tang Dynasty, Confucius's disciples and the key Confucians were gradually worshipped as well. There were 3 levels: sages, men of virtue, and Confucians. They were divided into the 4 companion matches, 12 philosophers, and Confucians of the east and west corridors. Ceremonial rituals were based on tablets. The 4 companion matches were separated into east and west corridors. The 12 philosophers were also divided into east and west. The other men of virtue and Confucians lined the east and west corridors. Tablets representing sages, men of virtue, and Confucians remind the scholars that through industriousness, anyone can be virtuous or a sage. The tablets also represent the struggles of previous scholars, relating the process of evolution and integration of the Confucius doctrine in both culture and history. Today, most Chinese recognize Confucius as the greatest thinker and educator in Chinese history. The most important reason he is famous is that he was the conscious inheritor of the culture of the Xia and Zhou dynasties. He did not give any religion to the world. What he gave to the world was only a powerful restatement of the fundamental principles of human morality or ethics. This is why his philosophy is still so revered today.